cell phones. Welcome to the first press conference of the 2016 regular season. Syracuse will host Colgate on Friday night at 7 p.m. The game will be televised on the ACC Network Extra. Doug Sherman and Matt Chatham will be on the call. Head coach Dino Babers, and I'll start with a brief opening statement, and then we'll go to questions. Please raise your hand if you have one, and you will be called upon.
I want to start off talking a little bit about Colgate. Dan Hunt, the head football coach there, this is his second season. Last year they made the quarterfinals of the FCA playoffs. They have a very, very experienced football team coming back. On offense, Colgate has 9 of 11 starters back. They average 25 points per game. They average 388 yards. They're predominantly a run football team through their quarterback. They have a lot of experience on the O-line. Their running back is a 1-2 thunder and lightning type punch. They have a bigger back and they have a smaller back. They do a nice job with those young men. Number 29, their wide receiver is their go-to guy, John Madonna, 62 catches for 910 yards. One of the aspects of their team that's outstanding is they only turned the ball over 13 times last year. Now, I want to say that we're talking about 11 fumbles, 2 interceptions. The quarterbacks does not turn the ball over very much, which makes them a very difficult opponent to beat. They don't beat themselves. On the defensive side of the ball, they returned 8 out of 11 starters. They gave up 248 yards average in the pass, 150 yards in the run, for a total of 398 yards. They have 4 all-conference players. Their bell cow is number 38, Kyle Diener, inside linebacker. They also have an outstanding outside linebacker, Pat Afriye. Both of these young men were first-team all-conference. They also have 2 second-teamers, number 93, Brett Field, and number 62, Alex Campbell on the D-line. So total, you're talking about 17 to 18 starters out of 22. This is probably one of the most experienced football teams that we're going to play all year. Are you going to ask the questions?
Questions for Coach? Mark in the middle.
Hey, Coach Babers.
Hello, Mark.
How are you?
Good.
In terms of first impressions, how important is this first game for you in your era, and what kind of impression would you like to see your team make?
Mark, I don't even think about me in this situation. I just think about the team. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. We've never played a game together. You know, it's like the first time you take your family out to a family reunion. You think they're going to act really good, but you're not quite sure till they get there. So I have high hopes for what's going to happen, but we're going to have to just wait and see.
What did Cody Conway show you during camp to win that left tackle spot?
I was talking about this the other night to Coach Lynch. He showed the ability to do exactly what we were asking them to do. The things that we asked the offensive line to do shows up on tape when you watch Cody Conway.
Coach, going back to that first question, you said this is the first game you're going to be playing, obviously with the Syracuse shirt on, but how important is it to you, or what's that feeling like that you have so much staff from Eastern Illinois and Bowling Green that's there with you to help in this transition?
I think that it gives us an opportunity to start fast. I'll be very disappointed if we don't get to see a representation of a small part of what we're going to become. And that's one of the reasons why I bring so many people with me, so the university does have an opportunity to start fast. Now, that's my hope, but we're going to have to wait and see.
Kendall Coleman, another guy who we saw with the starters in the depth chart. What did he do to separate himself from group? You said everyone's going to play, but what did he do to get on top? I've seen a couple of freshmen in 31 years that's impressed me enough to be someone that's going to get as many reps as Kendall Coleman is going to get. He comes from an outstanding family. His mother and father are very consistent. He does not speak much, but all he does is let his play speaks for him. And he has made a huge impression on me, a huge impression on this football team, and I think the Syracuse community are going to be very excited watching him for the next 4 years. Is there anything within his game in particular that you feel he does well?
Yeah, he listens and he does everything that the coaches ask him to do. And when you can get somebody at 18 years of age to do that enough to impress us, I think you got to check him. You got to go give 2 gold stars to mom and dad and whoever else helped raise him, because he's a quality individual.
Nico?
Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you.
You know, so often when the fans look at a team from the FCS level, they almost look aside. But as somebody who coached at this level, how impressive is it that Colgate, you know, what they accomplished last year, getting to the quarterfinals, and you know how tough of a challenge you guys have on your hands here?
It's extremely difficult. It's eerie how much they remind me of my team that went out to San Diego State and beat a very good San Diego State team in their own stadium, and everybody thought that the roof had fell in on San Diego State, and then that same year they win their conference and they beat Boise State, and their loss is sitting there to an FCS school. So it's eerie and it's spooky. So that's no matter. You keep telling young men, hey, these guys are good, these guys are good, these guys are good. Well, they're going to find out how good they are, and hopefully we don't sleep too long and we realize that we need to bring our A game or we're going to be in trouble.
John?
Do you have any updates on injuries to guys like Wayne Morgan and Rod Williams?
All the injuries, there's no new updates. All that stuff's the same. Those guys are getting treatment 3 times a day. If they're available for the game, they'll be available, but that goes to the training room. I really don't know. And I'll tell you guys this, for injuries, if they're out there and they're playing, we're coaching them. If they're not, then there's not much that we can do, and we just wait for the trainers and the doctors to clear them.
Chris?
You know, I wondered if you had a player who came to you and said, you know, I want to protest inequality in this country by sitting during the national anthem, what would your response to the player be?
Fantastic question. This is what I'm going to say. There's a big difference between being a grown person playing for a professional football team and a college student representing Syracuse University. And I'll just stop there.
Front row on the right.
Coach, you got the new faces on the offensive line. What do you expect to see out of them in the Colgate game and then progressing through the season as a unit?
I expect them to do things that we ask them to do. The key thing about offensive lines is they got to have a feel for each other, you know, and they have to, hopefully they stay healthy and they stay together long enough that they get a feel for each other, because the best offensive lines are the ones where guys get numerous starts next to each other. And it's important that those guys are all in the game at the same time and they feed off of one another.
Right.
Dino, coming from the MAC, you guys played like every day of the week, it seemed like. So Friday night, is that not a big deal to you, especially with the first 2 games being on a Friday night for you guys?
The biggest deal for me is the media stuff's it's pushed in the wrong spot. And, you know, I'm doing things later on in the week that I normally wouldn't do, which makes me a little uncomfortable. But I am used to it, and it's going to be exciting. It's a Friday night. Everybody's not playing. We're going to have an opportunity to get our brand out there, and hopefully it'll be in a positive manner.
Saw Amba Adebayo on that one line. A guy who looks like he brings a lot of speed. How does his ability to stretch the field maybe affect what you can do with the passing game?
I think that you know, Amba has that ability. You know, now whether he's consistently good or occasionally great, we have to see. We've got extremely high hopes for him, but we have other wide receivers that we think have had outstanding camps, and all those young men are going to get an opportunity in the game.
Coach, you mentioned sleep, and you told me last week you don't sleep much when getting ready to play an opponent everybody thinks you're going to beat. So tell me what this week is going to be like for you.
This week, or the days previous to this? Let me see. I saw Roadhouse 2 nights ago at 3. It was 3:30 in the morning. Roadhouse came in, and then Don't Kill the Messenger was 3:30 this morning. I want to say it was something like that. I'm trying to think of who the actor was. Oh, the guy that started the San Jose news reporter that reported the CIA was doing crack, was selling, I don't know, something like that I saw this morning. I couldn't go to sleep. Look it up. You guys should know him. He's a reporter that broke the case from San Jose State news reporter. But I haven't, not much sleep this morning. I've been catching all those, in the last 3 mornings, I've been catching all the early shows on HBO, somewhere between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
So that's already started.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Lack of sleep, for sure.
Chris?
One hallmark of the offense so far, you know, is the run pass option or package plays. And I was curious what appealed to you most when you kind of learned that concept.
Say it again, the very last part. I heard the first part.
Okay. What appealed to you about the concept, the offensive concept, when you learned it?
What you're talking about is RPOs.
Yeah.
RPOs are not, to me, that's not the key thing about what we do. I mean, everybody does RPOs. You know, we do, that's not special to me. I think when you tie all the things that we do in, it's what makes us different than everyone else.
Chris?
You know, with your style of play, you want to run more plays than anybody in the conference. And conventional thinking is, you know, the more plays you run, the more potential for wear and tear. Do you find you have to go deeper into your depth chart than most times, or where does that thinking break down?
You know, I think we have to go deeper into our depth chart than most people want to do. But the key thing is that so do they. So you have to coach all 62 guys, all 48 guys are going to step on the football field. You just can't concentrate on 22 to 28 guys.
Time for 2 more questions. Steven and John.
We saw Irv ahead of Brisley on the depth chart. I know in past depth charts you've had 12 guys, 2 inside, 2 outside receivers. Is that just a matter of getting it down to 11? Can we expect to see Brisley on the field?
It's just a matter of getting it down to 11. Absolutely. Good call.
Last question, John.
And walking on Winston, when you started camp at running back and then switched over to defensive back, how much did injuries at that spot influence his switch to defensive?
Not at all. Winston, he's got a lot of ability, and he's one of those guys that we're looking at, and he's going to help us, but we're not sure where he's going to help us at. He's not moving because of other people's injuries. He's moving because he has the ability to help us at all those spots. And before we close up, Stephen, Pierre did not qualify. Since you've asked me that like 5 times, I want to make sure I gave you that.
Thanks, Stephen.
Okay?
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.